Welcome back to the City Current Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference, empowering the good. And we love talking about marketing, branding, social media, websites, storytelling, and more. We're honored to have our City Current partner with us, Alex Rasmussen. He's the CEO of Neon Canvas and Signature Advertising. Let's start out. Alex, how are you doing?
I'm great, Jeremy. It's always great to be with you. I always enjoy our time together. Appreciate everything you do for the city of Memphis, of course. You know, we're both big fans of the city, so we put on for our city, and it's always a joy to spend a little time with you.
Absolutely. Well, you are a City Current partner, so we appreciate your support. And to your point, you do so much good, you and your team out and involved in the community. We'll talk about the volunteerism, the activation there, but also too, lifting companies, lifting nonprofits, and storytelling, marketing, and so much more. So let's start out with Neon Canvas. When you talk about Neon Canvas and the work you do, give us a little background there.
Yeah, I mean, we are a full service marketing agency. So we have companies come to us, and really our goal is to help them tell their story. There's so many pieces that are involved in storytelling, whether it's what your logo looks like and what emotions that evokes, to your colors, to your taglines, all the way down to Facebook and Instagram advertising and how you draw people into your company and try to sell to them. So it's a really big piece of any business's platform, and what they're doing is how they tell their story. So we really help guide them through that process, help them understand who is the hero in the story. How do you frame your company in the right way so that you're attracting the right type of clients for you, and then how to convert those into business and dollars.
You have clients that are all over the nation. You have a lot of orthodontists and dentists. And what's really remarkable is you can benchmark and share best practices. Talk about some of the kind of industries that you work heavily in, and then obviously how that applies everywhere.
Yeah, so medical marketing has been a huge niche for us. It's been really great. My business partner is an orthodontist here in Memphis. And the cool thing is, you know, a lot of people don't realize, but University of Tennessee's medical school is right here in Memphis. And that's a huge deal when you're talking about you're bringing all of these really, really sharp people into our city to live for several years, have their residency here, and learn in our city. But what happens is, you know, not all of them can stay here, right? They kind of disperse throughout the country. And so, but what that does is these people have a tie back to Memphis. And we've been able to use that through Dr. Kyle, who went to University of Tennessee and actually kept his practice here in Memphis and Germantown. And all of his colleagues who have spread out throughout the country, whether they be dentists or oncologists or orthodontists, they're all being trained right here in Memphis, which is really, you know, an incredible medical community. So that's been great for us. And then, of course, you know, marketing is marketing at the end of the day, right? Whether you're selling roofs or you're selling braces, you know, you have to attract the right people who are ready to buy from your business. And, you know, we tell people all the time, it takes multiple points of contact before someone's ready to buy from you. The minimum is 6 to 7 points of contact. And so when you think about how do you get those points of contact, you think, well, maybe they heard about you on the City Current show, and then they ran into you and you had a conversation with them, and then they saw a Facebook ad or a YouTube channel, or maybe they listened to your podcast, and then they sent in a form to you through your website. They saw your website. Now you're talking to them. I mean, we're still only through 4 or 5 of those points of contact, right? So to really get people ready to buy from you, you have to be ever present in your content, and you have to make sure that people understand how you can help them, what your value is, and that you're sharing insight in a meaningful way.
Before we dive into tips and recommendations and all that kind of good stuff, give us some background on Signature Advertising, because as I alluded to, you're also the CEO of both Neon Canvas and Signature Advertising.
Yeah, I was really blessed to come in contact with Signature Advertising about 4 or 5 years ago, and the principals there. And it really was just a match made in heaven, where this was a traditional storytelling agency that was working with your FedExes and True Greens and Hilton and Cummins and doing all these great things in the city of Memphis. And our foothold was really outside of the city of Memphis. Our clients are all over the country in 44 plus states, and, you know, almost 300 clients with Neon Canvas. So we really wanted to have more of a foothold in Memphis. And rather than kind of start a brand to spin that up, we thought, what better way than to bring Signature in as a sister company with Neon Canvas? So we had that traditional storytelling piece. One of the big things we've been working on where we integrated these two together is recently we did a children's book. for orthodontists, and Signature was kind of the brainchild behind that whole thing. And so, what a great way to spread the word about your business than a book that can be, like if it's an orthodontist kind of telling these various stories, and then you just kind of trade out who the main character is, where the location is, where the business is, and all of a sudden, for a very low barrier of entry, you can have a children's book for your office. So that's the kind of brilliance that Signature brings to the fold, and the kind of innovative advertising and marketing that we can do. Recently, we're working with Ortho South to help them with their digital marketing, help them with search engine optimization and things like that. So there's still these amazing, great Memphis companies that we can really help move forward. And then, of course, longtime clients of ours, FedEx, we're always, working with them to help them in various phases of their storytelling. So we're just really blessed to kind of have that foothold in Memphis. And we really want to continue to grow that and work with great Memphis companies, which is one of the reasons, of course, we're City Current partners.
Well, absolutely love it. And I think you've already teased quite a bit when it comes to branding, storytelling, SEO, social media, like all these different areas. When you're looking at a company and sitting down with them for the first time, what are the areas that you're assessing, and like, what are the questions you like to ask to start figuring out, okay, where are we going to start?
Yeah, the first thing you have to understand is where are your current clients coming from? How are you telling your story now? And is that effective, right? And if it's not, what are some of the barriers that are making that? Is it your logo? Is it your colors? Is it where you're telling your story? How you're telling your story? How insightful are you? Are you taking the insight and knowledge that you have from your business and sharing it for others? I kind of come from the Gary Vaynerchuk school of thought of the old jab, 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 right hook. And the theory behind that is, those jabs are just you just giving people content for free, giving them your knowledge for free, because you can't be scared to think, oh, you've got all the secret sauce, because as soon as somebody copies your secret sauce, you should have already been making a new secret sauce, right? So you got to be so far ahead of your competition that you can't be worried about sharing your knowledge with people. So that's one of the big philosophies we have with ourselves and our clients is, let's tell you everything you could ever want to know, because at the end of the day, you're not going to do it yourself. You're going to pay somebody else for the implementation anyway, right? Because they have the know-how, the manpower, the knowledge to get it across the finish line. So we really press our clients to do that. Share your knowledge, jab, jab, jab. And then when you're ready to ask them for their business, then you throw that right hook and you ask them, say, hey, I've been giving you all this free content to do. Now I need you to do something for me. I need you to go sign up for my email list, right? And maybe it's just a small right hook. It starts with signing up for my email list, but they feel a sense of responsibility to do that for you. You've been doing all this for me, so now return the favor. So I think that's a very important piece of the marketing puzzle, is that you're giving out a lot of insight and knowledge for free, not expecting anything in return, so that when you throw that right hook, it's meaningful. The punch has the power.
Well, and a lot of what you're talking about too, it's relationship building. And just like you're talking about, it's, hey, I'm going to help you and I'm going to give you this free information. And then in the end, I'm going to ask you to be a part of my email list or whatever it is to take that next step. But it's ultimately creating a relationship and knowing your audience, just like you're talking about. How do you start then to shift that conversation around ROI? So for businesses that say, okay, I understand now that I can track everything, all the metrics and all the click-throughs and everything, but ultimately, how does that drive ROI for my business? How do you start to paint that picture?
Yeah, I think it's such an important piece of the puzzle, because there's so many things that we can spend our marketing dollar on. I think about how much support we put behind the schools here in Memphis, behind the community here in Memphis, things we spend our money on, whether it's supporting a 5K race, like the FedEx Family House. Recently we were huge sponsors of that. We went all in to help them redesign their logo that went on the medal. And that was a big kind of thing for us that we just gifted to them, right? In a way to say, hey, we want to put our name here. What's not going to happen with that is, Jeremy, we're not going to be able to track any return on investment from that, right? That is a community engagement, a branding activity, which is far different than if I run an ad on Google to target a specific company in Memphis to say, hey, if you need a new website, you need to come to us to do that. And then they click on my website, they fill out a form, they sign a contract. Now I have a very specific dart of all return on investment from that Google ad that I placed into the money and contract that they signed and brought into my company. Those are two very different activities, both very important pieces of the puzzle, but you have to have the right mix in your business of branding activity and return on investment activity, tracking where did you bring that lead in from? How many points of contact did it take to get that lead to you? And then converting them and tracking how much money that was based on how much money it cost you to get them. We're able to tie all that together with a really intuitive dashboard that shows you exactly where your leads came from, how much you spent to get them there, and then what that return on investment was for you. And we think that's a very important piece of the pie, because when you think about marketing, yes, you should have a marketing budget. And typically we say that should be between 6 and 10% of your annual revenue. But what you don't want to do is be spending that 6 to 10% in the wrong places. You want to identify where you're getting your biggest return on investment so that you can go back and spend that money into the right places.
Yeah. And I think too, just like you're talking about, there's got to be, you got to have a good website. You have to have the social media. You have to have the activation. So in other words, as you're putting out the ads and drawing them to your website has to be robust. And so there are a lot of pieces to the equation, I think, that add in. And so it's not just one side, it's looking at the full scope. And just like you talk about too, community engagement, branding, pouring in, even though that might not tie to an ROI specific trackable over here, all that goodwill adds even more layers to the relationship building phase. And so talk kind of the landscape of the things that you look at between website, SEO, like what are the things that you kind of pull into your view?
Yeah, the great thing is now, Jeremy, when I got into digital marketing, it was like trying to convince people that they needed a website, right? Those days are long gone, right? Everybody's got a website now. Everybody's convinced they need it. But what they don't understand is, how does that website work for you? How well does it work? Does it load quickly? Is it easy to manage on the back end where you can update content and keep people informed with what's going on in your business? So we're really looking at the antiquation of websites right now. Is it doing what you need it to do? Does it work mobile? Is it responsive? Is it converting traffic? Because it can be this beautiful website and you never ask anybody to go, you're just giving them all this information. And then the kids come home from school, or the boss walks in, or you got to go to a meeting, and they never converted that traffic into an actual lead for your business. So that's really what we're looking at is your website up to date? Is it doing what it's supposed to do so that it can rank well on search engines? And even more important, can it convert the traffic that you're paying to drive in there? Because again, all those all those activities that you're taking on, whether they're ROI based or whether they're point of contact based, right? The way we talked about the supporting the branding activity, supporting the local races, supporting the community, supporting the schools, is ultimately when you throw that right hook and you bring them into the forefront, are you asking the right questions? And is it easy for them to get in contact with you? And then once they got that contact, our stats show, this is very important, that you have a 300% better chance of closing that business if you talk to that lead within 5 minutes. Think about that. That 5 minutes is ticking the minute they fill out that form on the website. So if you think, oh, well, here comes a lead, I'll get to that lead tomorrow, you just decreases your chance of closing that business tenfold, right? So what you have to do is you have to understand the process of working those leads as they come into your business. And we work with clients on all that. It's training the front desk staff. It's training the phone staff. It's training the web team staff. It's making sure that the auto responders are set up correctly. Hey, we got your lead. Here's a phone call. Here's a phone number. If you need to talk to somebody right now, if you want to schedule an appointment, here's the ability to do that. Here's a automation system that's automatically going to call my receptionist desk and say, hey, you just got a lead on your website. Press 1 to connect to that website. Boom. Now we're automating that process to make sure that our clients are getting the largest return on investment possible. And I think that's where we play chess and others are playing checkers, right? I think that's what separates Neon Canvas and Signature from a lot of other companies, and why we were able to make Inc. 5000's fastest growing companies list in this past year is because of activities like that, where our clients know this is going to work for me and I can't not do this. And so our model is to bring you in and keep you forever. And that's how you grow as a company, is you keep those clients and you keep adding to the staff.
Yeah, I love it. That's good stuff. And you actually led me exactly where I was going to go next, which is congratulations. Neon Canvas named to Inc. 5000 fastest growing companies list. And so talk about what that means for you and your team and that sort of growth and development and opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice feather in our cap. To be honest with you, Jeremy, I think we grew faster in other years, but that process of making that list is not an easy thing. And so for us to make Inc. 5000's fastest growing companies list, is kind of nice for us to look around and even if for a small moment to say like, hey, we're doing something right here. I don't think we can rest on our laurels. Obviously, the economy right now is in a very fragile state. And if you watch the news, you think the world's falling apart. We don't have the news on around here. We have our heads down, right? And so we're not going to be affected by what other people tell us we should be affected by. What we're going to do is focus on what we do really great. And in a sense, when if your focus as a company is to gain market share, and that's what your focus should be in any organization, you want to gain market share in the niche that you're in the industries that you're serving. It is the cheapest time to buy market share during a recession, because as everybody else is pulling out and everybody else is pulling back, now all of a sudden those Google ads are cheaper, the advertising is cheaper, your competition's getting scared and you're going in. So you're spending maybe the same amount of money or a little bit more, and you're gaining more market share in these times. So I think that is so important, especially with it. We talk to our clients about is like, look, let everybody else get scared. Let everybody else point out. I could go back and point to hundreds of examples of companies that have been born out of recessions or gained bigger, greater followings and revenue during recessions by not having a scarcity mindset, having an abundance mindset that knows that what we do works. We have a great product. We have a great service. We know we can deliver on that. What we need to do now is go gain market share. And what better time to do that than during a recession?
Absolutely. Talk about the community engagement, why that's so important for you personally and for your team.
Yeah, I was born and raised here in Memphis, and our city gets such a tough rap around the country because it's like the stuff that comes out of our city is always, the negative things, right? And yeah, bad things happen, but bad things happen everywhere. So we feel like it's part of our job to really pour back into our community and spread the good news, just like you're talking about all the time. We want to tell people Memphis is a great city to live, work, and play. I was sitting down with several business owners, and we were in Tampa several weeks ago, and they were all talking there. If we could just figure out what's going to be the next Austin, what's going to be the next Nashville. And I looked at him, I said, it's Memphis. That's the next Nashville. That's the next Austin, the next Atlanta. We are so primed for growth and success that it's like almost palpable. One of our great clients I love working with here is Jones Hour, where Dustin Jones and Jonathan Hour, who are both staples in this community, left from Boyle and the shopping center group. They came together. And the reason they started this company was, when you would bring these great companies, Torchy's Tacos and Crumble Cookies and Topgolf to Memphis, the money from that brokerage was going back out into other cities. They said, why not put that money right here back into our own city? And we can go out and attract companies and bring them to Memphis and make it sustainable. We know where to put Crumble Cookie to make it sustainable. We know where to put Torchy's Tacos to make it sustainable. We know where we can put Topgolf and make it sustainable, right? So having that knowledge of Memphis and understanding that this city is primed for great growth is the reason that we constantly give back. We're constantly looking for ways to put on for our city, do things here in the community, and build it up. So we're very passionate about that, Jeremy.
I love it. Wrap up with where we can go to learn more about Neon Canvas and signature advertising.
Yeah, visit us at our website at neoncanvas.com. I also encourage you to follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook. Those are great places to just kind of get to know about who we are and what we do. We stay active on those things. Of course, signature901.com. But reach out to us, fill out a form on our website. Let's have a conversation and see how we can move your business forward.
Well, Alex, greatly appreciate your partnership in City Current. Thank you for all you and your amazing team do. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks, Jeremy. See you next time.